This is a Derek from Chicago. Hey, aunties, what's brewing today?
Stirring the honey pot.
Ask your aunties, mind your business.
And 90's male R&B brackets. So get your cups ready for MinoriTea Report.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, aunties.
Hey, aunties. How y'all doing?
See?
She got that Barry White in her voice. Oh, you're not feeling well.
Nah, I am. I'm sick. I think I got the flu. But
ooh, it ain't the corona though.
No. Well, here's the crazy thing. So all the symptoms for the coronavirus are like the same symptoms to like 5 different common colds. So you don't know if you got strep. You don't know if you got fucking the flu. You don't know if you got influenza.
Ooh.
See, there I go. But so I don't think it's the coronavirus. I mean, I work from home. I don't really leave my house, so there's no way I got it from someone.
So she got herself quarantined already.
Right, exactly. So
you guys have been having some pretty wild temperature swings in Seattle lately, haven't you?
Yeah, and I just started coaching track and field last week, and I think that's what ended up getting me sick was the temperature swings.
Them little nasty kids.
She like, get your ass off the grass. She out there screaming. She ain't sick. Right. She got a hoarse. Her voice is hoarse for all that screaming.
All them nasty kids don't wash their damn hands.
This is my first year coaching tracks with them, so I don't yell much yet. But no, like already within the first week, I'm the favorite coach. So like the kids, they be camped outside of my bus waiting to get on my bus, so they can play music and chat and all the rest of that stuff.
So is the track season still going?
So today officially it has been canceled until April 20th. They have closed the school today, so there will be no more school. Luckily, however, though, they'll be doing everything online so the kids can still finish the year and kids can still graduate on time.
They can't run online.
Right, but the governor also just prohibited any events with 250 people or plus. So no events can happen if there are more than 250 people. And if there are events with less than 250 people, there has to be a guideline. They have to meet the health code guideline from the CDC in order for that to even happen and have to get approved for that. So legally, these motions have been put in place. So, things cannot happen. And they just told all the school districts here in the state of Washington to plan measurements for in case having to cancel school or close the schools and have the kids go to school from online. So
that's wild.
It's crazy out here.
For my birthday, I went to the Atlanta United soccer game, and obviously it's at an NFL stadium, so it's just like tens of thousands of people. But they had people like spraying down the escalator like railing the entire time with like disinfectant. And then it was interesting. You could tell people are taking it a little more seriously because the lines at the men's bathrooms were extra long because dudes were actually taking time to wash their damn hands and like stand there in like more than 20 seconds and wash their hands. So I was like, oh man, this is definitely changing culture because usually you see dudes go in there, pee and just kind of jet right on out.
Right.
I'm not one of them. I always wash my hands, but you always see them dudes. So I was like, damn, these lines are extra long right now. But same thing here in Atlanta. Like within the last couple days, there was one of the big schools here in the city. One of the teachers had it, so they shut that school down. A daycare got it, so they shut that daycare down. And so now it's starting in the city where they're looking at it. And I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, schools here will probably also be canceled or at least online or whatever. But it makes me think, like, if schools don't have the capability, like, and I'm sure it's affecting the poor communities again, the black and brown communities. If they don't have the capabilities of doing online courses and stuff, like, that's just messing up lives. It's like, it's deeper. Like, people are like, oh, it's just like the flu symptoms and things like that. Yes, but this is like interrupting lives and graduating and weddings even. Like, I couldn't even imagine trying to do a wedding right now or destination wedding. Like I was upset last summer when we had to move from DR to Mexico because of whatever was going on in Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't imagine now where it's a global pandemic and you're trying to plan your wedding and then you get stuff if your wedding's over 250 people, you can't even have your wedding now. Like that's wild.
Yeah. But I don't know, like it's I never thought it was funny at first, never at all, but I didn't think it would become the fear and panic would happen so fast, you know.
So fast, yeah.
And like even like right now, like Fiznik, like he's even freaking out. And I'm like, I'm trying to reassure him like constantly. I'm like, I work from home. And when I'm not working from home, I am coaching. Like those are the only two things I've been doing. Like I haven't been around anyone. You take public transportation 4 times a day. Like you have a higher chance of getting it. House. Look, you have a higher chance of getting it than I do. You know?
Right.
But no, I told him, I was like, this is what you get for making fun of your mom when she called and was saying, because he hadn't heard from his mom hadn't heard from him and his brother, and she had started freaking out. And he was like, you need to calm down, it's okay. And then I get sick, and now here he is freaking out. And I was like, see, this is what you get for trying to come at your mom like that. This is what you don't do it. Don't do it.
I know Corey made me go to Walmart last week with him to like try to find some disinfectant, and all they had was like the regular Lysol spray. He's like, no, I want like the spray in the can so I can spray shoes. I can spray anything, because he's like, you got friends coming into town. I want to spray they shoes and everything like that. So literally I found disinfectant at like a Kroger down the street here, and there was 4 left, and I grabbed 2 of them cans. And literally the second I grabbed it, there was a lady behind me that grabbed the other 2 cans, and the whole shelf was wiped out. The whole shelf of disinfectants, of Lysol, of Clorox, of wipes, of hand sanitizer.
It's gone.
Like, it's wild.
Yeah, we went on Sunday before I actually started having symptoms and getting sick. We went to 2 different Costco's. We went to 3 different Targets. We went to 4 different Dollar Trees. We went to 2 different grocery stores, and not a single place had hand sanitizer or Clorox wipes. Not a single place. And the Costco's had all of the all the water and tissue roped off, and then the workers were handing them out to people. Oh, wow. So that people wasn't just snatching all the water and snatching all the tissue. Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
I don't know.
Fear, like fear always works. Like fear tactics always work for some reason. We see it in politics. We see it in sickness. We see it in health. We see it in relationships. For some reason,
sound like some vowels over there.
Bad or indifferent.
You sound like you're saying some vowels over there, girl.
Right.
Sickness and health.
It's crazy that like fear, whether it's warranted or not, just causes craziness.
I'm still trying to check my own personal cynicism, because I'm just not feeling any of that. Now, mind you, I've never had the flu in my life. I've never had a fever. I've never had a cold. I don't get hangovers. So, I mean, like, I'm not.
She like Unbreakable movies or something.
Shit.
Just saying, like, I don't rock like that. I do have like a sinus issue, so I'll get like sinus pressure and like a nasal drip, but like a cough, a sore throat, headaches, like, congested chest. I've never had any of that in my entire life. So,
so if you ever get that, you're just gonna be an ultimate baby, because you don't know what it feel like.
Yeah, well, I'll be a baby if I'm sick, no matter what, because I'm a Leo, and that's how we roll. So all we want is love and attention. That's all we want, no matter what, all day, every day. So that's a given. But I mean, I live in New York, and there's a lot of companies are having people just work from home. And we got a note from our HR leader yesterday, telling people to start, just make sure you're taking your laptops home every single day, because we don't know whether or not, and when we'll, just start to work from home until further notice, and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I just keep thinking like, okay, well, this thing started a couple of weeks ago, and I get it that everybody's being like cautious and taking precautions, but if this thing runs its course, it can run for a couple of months. So like all the hysteria that people are doing right now ain't gonna really do any good, because guess what? It's gonna still be going like 2 months from now. So, I mean, I'm far be it from me to like tell people not to take precautions, but I think people are going a little bit overboard with this. Like, you know, stocking up like as if life is dependent upon how much toilet paper you got for the next, 2 weeks or whatever.
I don't know if you ever had the flu though, and you had the diarrhea, you need some toilet paper.
Oh, yeah, I can't relate to
that part. Jerrell don't raise his hand. I'm just saying, for someone that never got sick.
That's why I was 5 minutes late to this meeting to begin with.
See,
I'm telling you,
that'll be the day you be like, "Damn, I don't got no toilet paper and I got diarrhea."
No.
That's a shitty situation for real.
Literally.
Oh man, but like we said last week, wash your damn hands and wash your legs.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. And you know what? I have been washing my hands a lot. Like I do feel like everywhere that I'm going, everything that I'm touching just has like copious amounts of germs on it. And so I have been washing my hands a lot. And I don't know about you all, but like I feel like I have no skin left on my hands at all. Like, for as many times as I'm washing them and like putting lotion on, like washing and putting lotion on and whatnot, it's just like my hands are like, give me a break. They haven't felt this much activity since I was 12. Come on now.
Oh. Look, she ain't got no more fingerprints, huh? She's like,
right. She can rob a bank now.
Okay, now. Get all them coins.
Right.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, it's not going away.
It's just, it's unfortunate because like, even like big events are canceling. So South by Southwest canceled. They canceled. Well, they postponed Coachella. They postponed it.
Yeah, to the fall.
So it's not like, canceled, which is good, but like St. Patrick's Day in Boston, which is the biggest St. Patrick's Day in the United States, got canceled altogether, which by the way, serves them right because they are denying Miss something. What's her name? Did you guys
Miss
see
Manhattan?
that article?
Oh, in Brooklyn?
No, it's in Boston.
Oh, it is in Boston. Yeah. I thought it was in Brooklyn.
And anyway, there's a Miss something that was supposed to be. She don't remember names. So
Alexa.
But a Miss something who is in the Boston State area, whatever. Like she wanted to walk in the parade, and they were like, "No, because you're trans, you can't walk in our parade." So now the whole thing is canceled.
Yeah,
so
Karma's right. She's Miss Staten Island. Yeah, Miss Staten Island. It was
Staten Island. That's what it is. Staten Island. Okay, so maybe she.
Yeah, because she came out as bisexual. That's what it was.
She came
out as bisexual. Yes. And they wouldn't let her walk in the parade. So karma was right back at you. But we don't want this kind of karma where it's a pandemic.
Right.
Because March Madness, they're not doing any fans at any of the March Madness tournaments. Yeah. They canceled the first, like the biggest one of
Indian Wells.
Yep, they canceled that. Oh. And right now, like they're still in talks about what they're going to do for the Olympics too.
Right.
I know.
Yeah, that's in Japan,
luckily, London
right?
was like, well, we can host it again if need be.
Right.
But even then, still, it's like, it doesn't matter whether you're in London or you're in Tokyo. Like,
it's still an issue. It's still going to be an issue. I just feel bad for
especially with like the Olympics.
I feel bad for like all of like the small businesses that rely on these kind of events, like South by Southwest, Coachella, even the Olympics. Like, that brings so much revenue. Even like, the St. Patrick's Day parade or any of these kind of parades. DragCon is another one that got canceled in LA. RuPaul's DragCon got canceled recently. So I just feel bad for like all of these like independent business owners that really rely and make their year really off of these kind of events that for the
like
ones
catering and all that.
Right. Food. Specialty prices, special like services. It's unfortunate that, these events are being canceled or not just postponed to another date. But I get it because, things get booked up and you have to have city ordinances and it's a whole kind of like thing. But it just sucks.
Because it's like one of those things too, is like, yes, it might be blown out proportion, but until that happens to like your family member or something like that, then you wish they would have taken the precautions.
Exactly.
You know, you would instantly flip and be like, why didn't they cancel so and so, and why did So it's definitely hard,
tough.
and it's just gonna be weird watching basketball games like the NBA. They're playing without audiences now. I saw on The View today that they didn't have an audience, so like it's wild, all these precautions, but you don't want it to happen to your grandma or your mother or, a relative or a friend or whatever, or neighbor. So it's like,
well, and the thing is, it's not just
line
happening
is.
to older people too, because now there have been cases of people in their early 30s that are in critical condition too. So the whole thought process of like, oh, it's just affecting elderly people. Like, no, like just the other day, like there was a doctor who was 32 in Kirkland, Washington, who's in critical condition. He's the same damn age as me. You know, it's just like, damn, you know, I'm just outside of the sickness and the health part itself. I'm just really concerned about the livelihood, about people that needs to work, you know. I mean, because people, you know, like majority of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And as soon as you start telling people they can't go to work, how the hell are they going to be able to pay their bills?
I mean, think about
you ain't going to
waiters
see XL
and
being like,
bartenders.
oh, you can just pay us. We're not going to charge you for the next 2 months. We'll charge you once you start going. They ain't doing no payment plans like that. They ain't doing no shit like that.
I mean, think about people that are waiters and bartenders that, you know, they get an adjusted wage for regular working, but they rely on their tips in order to make those ends meet. Like if you're not going out,
it's here at home. Corey works commission. And if people aren't coming in and helping them interior decorate and buying furniture and things like that, it's his paycheck.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about that. He's like, literally, people aren't coming in as much now. He's like, and that directly affects my paycheck. Because his regular wage, like waiters, it's like $2 an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he literally, his livelihood and our livelihood is dependent on commission, unfortunately. And fortunate, because when things are going well, he makes a very good salary. But situation like this, you got to ride that wave. So, yeah, I definitely feel that.
I'm surprised that there hasn't been more like shutdowns here in New York. You know, like I got on the train this morning to go to work and the train was packed. Now, by the time I got from where I live in Harlem to, you know, like Midtown and Grand Central Station was empty. And from all the people that are coming in from like, you know, the outer boroughs, you know, coming in from like Staten Island or New Jersey or, you know, from Brooklyn and whatnot, their trains are completely empty. But the trains in the city, packed with people.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm hearing the airports are empty as well. Like I have friends that before, they now have travel bans this week, but earlier or late last week, they're like, ATL airport, which is a zoo all the time. He's like, I'm just walking and spritzing and through this airport like crazy.
I just got back from Detroit. I flew out to Detroit on Monday, flew back Monday night, and both times the airports were completely empty. There was like maybe 10 people in the lines to get through TSA pre-check or TSA check, the TSA.
You know, there are some good deals out there though. I've been looking. I'm like, ooh,
that part.
Like you could go to Puerto Rico. I looked today. You could go to Puerto Rico for like like a $59 ticket. Yeah. Obviously, some of them are like Spirit and things like that. But like even like the Delta ones, $150 to Puerto Rico. I was like, bitch, let's go.
Look, you want to go? I'll go. I will book a weekend like coming up here soon.
Seriously, absolutely. Get my little disinfectant wipes, put it in a Ziploc. I'm good to go.
Look, all that Corona will completely disappear in like the Caribbean sun.
Right.
You know,
that's true. They do say sun affects a lot of these viruses.
Yeah, because they can't survive at a certain amount of heat.
The season like heats up. Luckily, it's going into spring and summer. Because if you could imagine if it was going from fall to winter, this thing would really ramp up even quicker than it is.
100%. Yeah.
Aruba.
I'm sitting here thinking about making a trip to.
I know. I'm like Aruba, maybe PV. I don't know where we going.
Right. I know we need to go somewhere.
Community trip.
Yeah. Look, especially because like Adam's company just they're going to be working from home. They have limited work hours during the week, but they're working home every Friday. I work from home every single Friday. My company is just cool like that. But I'm expecting that we're going to probably be working from home, you know, here pretty soon. So You know, if his company ends up working from home all next week and my company ends up working from home, you better believe we're going somewhere. Like,
I agree.
Calling in live from Puerto Vallarta.
Right.
Listen to them chickens cawing and the beach roaring.
I know that.
Because honestly, like if you work from home, you know, then you can work from wherever you are. So there's no incentive for you to stay like in your house.
Nope. Because I literally this week I went in, and I guess this would be last week, obviously commuting, but went in Monday, and then the rest of the week work from home because they too now are saying, because I'm on a client site, so they're too saying, hey, if you don't feel comfortable traveling in, work from home. That's why you have laptops. That's why we have Microsoft Teams, Skype, et cetera, et cetera. There's ways to be still doing what you need to do instead of being around people coughing in the office. So
I'm going to do that. I'm going to book somewhere. As soon as Adam tells me that his company says he can work from home for like, let's call it the next week or two, I'm booking somewhere. We going somewhere from like Tuesday to like Thursday or something, like somewhere warm. We're going somewhere.
We'll be talking after this podcast.
We might have to do a community trip. Like,
seriously.
hey, y'all, you can go to...
Meet us in XYZ.
Right. If you're working from home, work with us.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, no, you didn't get no work done. No work done. None. That's a party.
Hey, that's okay. I'll get what needs to be done. If they can find me still, they can find me.
Right. You know,
but if it's a little quiet, then I'm gonna hop my ass in the water.
And you know, it's funny because like when like your whole department or your whole like company works from home for certain periods, like my company worked from home for the last 2 weeks of the year, right? And you know, like during a regular week when people are in the office, you have meetings galore. Like people find reasons to get a meeting on the calendar. Yep. But when you're working from home, like those Fridays,
it's crickets.
Work still somehow gets done.
Right, and you get upset when someone does schedule a meeting on that Friday.
Like,
you're like, bitch, what
at
you
9
doing?
in the morning? Why?
Right. It's like, you tripping? It's like, who are you? I know, like, literally the other day, someone put a recurring meeting on our calendar for every other Friday at like 10 a.m. And I'm like, you are tripping. Like, why? Our calendar was open because we don't want meetings on Fridays. I was like, and it's like a team meeting. It's going to probably be like 20, 30 people.
See,
I'm like,
that's a mess.
I was like, ooh, you tripping. You are tripping. But anyway, Corona, stay clean out there, people. Wash your hands.
And your legs.
Wash your hands.
And your ass.
And your legs and your ass.
And your eyeballs. And everything in between. Oh, before we forget, we got to say thank you to our boy, Derek.
Hey, Derek.
Thanks, Boo, for that intro.
Thank you, Boo.
Yes.
Singing like Ron Isley.
Showing off that vibrato.
Fish that little vibrato going.
Yeah, we love it.
What's brewing today? Oh, man. Another thing we wanted to talk about last week, but we just ran out of time, is another thing that's flying off the shelves is Honey Pot. Y'all heard that story about Target and the black lady that created Honey Pot? She's from here in Atlanta. And it's a feminine hygiene product. And in the commercial that they did with Target, at the very end, she said it's important for brands like this and situations like this so other black girls could see that you could be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the trolls came out at night. The trolls,
but what kind of trolls?
The white trolls.
Right.
They came out, and to the point where Target had to shut down the review section of the website because people were leaving negative comments, not because of the product, but because they thought what she said was racist and anti-white and all this stuff. However, she was on The Breakfast Club, and like Charlamagne the God was asking her, are you upset by this? And she's like, you know what? Things work out the way they're supposed to, because if that didn't happen, we might not have sold as much as we did. She's like, we're going to be successful, but since they wanted to act a fool, guess what? This is the pro that came out of it. So it was cool for her to take the higher road. And it was a dope interview because she was like cussing and everything. Mm-hmm. Not to say that you don't have to cuss, but like she was just very down to earth, very matter of fact, very Atlanta. And she saw the positive out of this situation. And honestly, the product is flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
The only sad thing to me, though, is it sucks that it has to be something this crazy for us to support Black businesses. It's like we should have been way on top of this before controversy came along. We should have been out there promoting Honey Pot before the controversy part came along. So that's the only part. Just like, we got to do better as a community if we want brands like this to continue to stay successful, that we don't need the trolls to come and push us along to make it successful.
I think that I 100% agree with you. And I think the challenge of it is that we don't have the visibility to some of the products that are coming out there. Like, there may be products out there, but you don't know the history behind it. Like, how many times have any one of us have walked down the aisles of Target and have seen new products up on the shelves? We have no idea, that it's Black owned, that it's women owned, that it's Latino owned, that it's Asian owned. Like, we don't know, and we don't even know the backstory as to why the product is there. We just know that it's there, and we just continue shopping. What I do also appreciate, and y'all, if you have not seen the Breakfast Club video, just go ahead and YouTube it, look it up on YouTube. It's phenomenal. One of the things that I really appreciated about how she made this a silver lining, not only did she see a tremendous amount of support in terms of people going out and buying her products and using her products. She has the beautiful part of her, sorry, I'm skipping all over the place, but the beautiful part of what her products is that they're all natural. And so, there's no artificial anything, and the making them, they're biodegradable, they are earth friendly, they are sustainable, they are sustainably made and sustainably biodegradable. So I think that's wonderful, and it's made for everyone. Even though she's a Black woman, it's not made just for Black people, and she got that point across really clear and on that platform. Yeah. The other thing that I thought was fascinating, because I had no idea about this, but it makes sense and I believe it. She mentioned, and I'm going to get the numbers wrong, so don't quote me on this, because she ain't got that good of a memory. But the essence of it was there's $8 billion out there or more of venture capitalist funding made available to people that are doing startups. And she said that Black people, not even women, but Black people as a whole get less than 1%. She said 0.67%, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but it's but I know for a fact she said it's less than 1% of that total amount. And what she said is the reason she made that comment at the end is because a lot of venture capitalists operate just like if you were buying a home and you had a realtor and they're looking at comps. And so what she was saying is that if there are no comps to show what the success rate of a Black owned brand, with a certain kind of, target audience, market, whatever, if there are no comps to that, if there's no other success stories, then venture capitalist companies that have this money for Black inventors, brown inventors, people of color, LGBTQ,
give you crumbs.
You don't get any, you get barely any of it. So she said she is the first person in the history to ever receive more than $1 million of venture capitalist funding ever. In
2020.
Ever. So
2019, I guess, probably when it started.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? So it's yes, her business has been booming. She's not only in Target, she's in 15 other retail locations, CVS, Walgreens, and a bunch of others or whatever. But she actually was able to use this platform to take that little snippet that was in her in the Target ad that was less than 3 seconds to say that one little line about, whatever.
It was the last line of the video or the commercial.
and then turn it into this platform to talk about venture capitalism. And the conversation that's happening in Black and brown communities right now is all about creating generational wealth and trying to change people's mindsets to trying to be wealthy, to become rich, to create generational wealth for them and to be able to pass on. So that was a nugget of truth.
I think I saw an article that Latino communities are something about the most entrepreneurs or something like that right now, or the most newly owned businesses or something like that, which is awesome. But we need to get that out there more because, like you said, even with venture capitalists to see the comps, we need to see the comps.
Absolutely.
Oh, Honey Pot did that. I actually have an idea, and now I can reach out to venture capitalists and say, "Oh, Honey Pot's an example." Or here in Atlanta, there's a place called Slutty Vegan. It's like a burger chain that has done amazing within the last year. Seeing these examples out there is so huge. And shout out to Target for going out to her, because it sounded like Target actually approached her, not her approaching them for the commercial. So it was cool for them to be like, you know what? We like your product. We think it's an awesome opportunity for you. Here's an opportunity to spend our money to come up with a 30-second spot for you to promote this honey pot product. So all the way here. Go ahead, Target. We liked you before, but we really like you. Because even your ethnic hair care section is pretty large at Target. So we're all the way here for it.
I love any company that puts their money where their mouth is. You know, so it's one thing to say that you are for the people. It's one thing to say that you support, LGBT folks, people of color, women, whatever. But it's another thing to actually put the money where your mouth is.
Spend your coins.
And I love the fact that for as much vitriol as this woman got through the Target ad, there were that many more people that came to her, came to her defense, but also put their money where their mouth was and actually bought her product. And now she got introduced to a whole new market segment that probably she would have never had exposed to otherwise.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. I agree with both you guys. No, I mean, like for me, especially like Target is very big in Minneapolis. Like that's where the headquarters are. Yeah. And so I'm not surprised to see Target, make moves like this, just because I know how diverse Target is and what they do there. And then also a friend of mine from high school, he has a clothing line that Target reached out to him. And so it's a men's clothing line. It's called Jackson. So sometimes you will see his stuff out there and stuff like that too. So I just think it's really awesome to see that. It sucks that, of course, the trolls have to come out and make it about them and take away from this woman's moment, to shine and do something that's great and make it about them, which is, it just seems like that's the thing to do these days is if it's not about you, you bitch and complain about it. And the thing is, everything ain't for you. Everything ain't for everyone, So when it's not for you, it's about you. Move on about your business, go read a book.
Look at God. Won't he do it though? It's look at God.
Go about your life.
I just want to send a shout out to Eric Westman, who one of my best Judies. He lives in San Diego currently, but he's going to be moving to New York this week. And he just sent me a text of this meme. That says, while y'all out there getting all this sanitizer, please don't forget to wash your ass. And this aisle is still full. And it's from Target, and it's a whole picture of all the body wash. Okay, Eric, I see you, girl.
Is that him talking to all the bottoms or something out there? Is that what he's doing?
To whom it applies.
To whom it may concern.
Because what we always say, you gotta wash your hands and that ass.
And your legs and your ass.
Look at God.
Oh man! All right, you know what? I think it's about that time. Look at
Is it time?
All right, I think it's time. All right, you guys, community, you know what time it is. Say it with us. It's
Ask
Your
Aunties.
And then you got to shimmy it.
You got to shake your shoulders when you
shimmy it and twerk it out. Oh man, who has it this week? Who has it up?
When you said that, twerk it out. Do you ever see that Key and Peele skit where they're two church ladies in the pew and they talking about how all their families all fucked up because of the devil? And, oh my daughter Crystal, she then got herself messed up with Miss Stephanie's himself, and she'll talk about something or whatever, and then the old ladies talk about how they gonna beat up the devil, and so she was like, I'm gonna flirt with the devil. I'm gonna draw him in. She's shaking her shoulders. I'm gonna draw him in. I'm gonna show him a little shoulder. You like this? And I'm gonna make him come on in, and I'm gonna flirt with the devil, and I'm gonna ride that devil. And then when I got him in my hooks, I'm gonna take his dick and I'm gonna wring it out. I'm gonna wring it out. It just goes from all the way from left. So when you said that,
I've not seen that.
When you said
I'm gonna look that up.
That's funny.
That makes me think of Miss Shirlene on IG too. That one lady that plays the old church lady.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite IG. One of them at least. Anyway, okay. So ask your aunties. Side note. Okay, I found it here. Or you got it, Jerrell?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So the Ask Your Aunties this week, the question is, on a scale of 1 through 10, 10 being the highest, how deep in your partner's business are you and why? This is inspired by a scene in Why Did I Get Married, where she's checking the phone bills, credit card bills, etc.
So how much like into your partner's business are you?
Mm-hmm.
Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Let me think.
In their
I think it's
business,
varied over time. Go ahead, Dawon.
In their business, like, what does that mean to you? Like, does that mean like? Doesn't mean like
checking their
everything,
phone,
like, right? Like checking their phone, checking like their bank accounts. You have shared bank accounts, like that deep, or just like
I think so.
Wow,
because that's how it was in that movie.
See, I didn't see the movie, so I don't know, but I would give myself a 4 or 5. Yeah, I would say I'm on the low scale because we don't check each other's phones and all that. Like we trust each other and all that. So, but I mean, and like we keep our phones unlocked and whatever. So, it's not like that or whatever. I don't have any of his passwords to any of his like accounts or whatever, but like our laptops are 100% unlocked. So if he ever wanted to look at my stuff, we could. We don't have shared bank accounts at all. I mean, we obviously like we have conversations about finances and stuff like that, or we have an arrangement around finances, but yeah, we're not in each other's business all like that. And we practically hang out with the same people. So, I mean,
right.
I don't know.
What do you guys got going on? 5, maybe a 5 or 6. I mean, at this point, like we're married. So like, legally that makes you all in your business.
Same person.
Right. We got a freaking mortgage together. Like, so on that front, maybe that part of it's a little higher just because legally we are. Like we have a joint account, but then we still have our separate accounts. And then like literally like we're not in each other's phones and things like that. And we literally, if there's a cute boy or something, we're like, oh, look, he's cute on Instagram or something like that. So like, I don't care. Like, I guess we're just at that point in the relationship that we're like, we're freaking married. Like, if you don't trust me by now, it is what it is. And it's not to say that there haven't been trust issues along the route in the past. Right. There's always that in any relationship. But I think, at least from my perspective, if you want to fuck up, fuck up. You're a grown ass person. There's repercussions. And I think he thinks the same for me. So, so it's just like, if you want to if you want to fuck the relationship up, that's your point. That's your decision. Right. And there's repercussions to it. Mm-hmm. And I think that takes a lot of the weight away from it, honestly.
Do you think the base of the question, I don't want to like skip over you, Jerrell. I'm just curious about, do you think the base of the question is a trust issue, or do you think it's just
I think so.
It's something else?
Well, because I mean, like, what else? Like, what are you all in the business for? Like, there might not even be no business. You think there's business, there might not even be no business. I think it is. I think it does stem from a trust issue. I think it might stem from an insecurity issue.
Uh-huh. What happened in the movie? Because that's the piece that I'm missing. Like he said, in
the movie it was a trust issue, and there was like cheating and stuff like that. So that's the reasons behind that one.
Good old Tyler Perry.
But I think this is me speaking in almost 8 years into the relationship as well. There might have been more insecurities or maybe trust or things like that when you were at the beginning, where you're still kind of defining what this is and things like that. But even then, I'm like, okay, if you want to fuck it up, fuck it up. That's on you. I don't have to stay, kind of thing. Like, there's always repercussions to whatever you think it is. But then even on financial levels, I mean, like I said, we have the bank account together, so that, so I don't know, maybe a 5. Middle of the road. It just depends on, I guess, what it is.
What about you guys?
I don't know. I would say I'm hybrid about a 5 too. Honestly, I don't care. As long as you handling your shit and you doing what you need to do, I'm just going to be over here doing what I need to do. Like, I don't have time to be focusing on my partner's business, because that's less time that I can be focusing on handling my business and doing what I need to do and, making progress in my own life.
I get the job done.
However, I will say this, baby. If you are acting up, I will definitely be all up in your shit. That's my prerogative. Like Carell said, the consequence to your actions. Oh, you want to fuck up? Exactly. Well, shit, I'm gonna be all up in your business. Or even financial. Like if we got bills that need to be paid and you ain't handling your shit, guess what? I'm gonna have my foot on your neck because you fucking with my livelihood. I don't fuck with that. You know. So I won't be in your business as long as your business ain't fucking up my business. We good.
That part.
We good.
You said it way better than I said it.
I don't have no reason to be concerned because you're handling your business. So we're good.
What is the one thing, like just continuing the conversation, what is the one thing that you do in your relationship that you are most concerned about? Like the business of theirs that you are most concerned about? Like if there's no trust issue, right? Let's use that as a base. What is that thing? Like if his phone rings or gets a text message, do you kind of look over to see what it is?
I mean, sometimes I do because I'd be like,
that's a can opening.
No, so I almost said something. So sometimes I will be curious because he don't have a lot of friends here in Seattle. Mm-hmm. And so at certain times I'd be like, well, who the fuck texting you at this time of night? Like, what the hell? Like, and his friends are my friends at the same time too. So like, I know they know better. Like,
Meanwhile,
but then I also have to remember
it's H&R Block.
But then I have to remember though, that 8-hour time difference between here and home. So by the time we're going to sleep, like his family and friends may be getting up early to go to work and stuff like that. So there will be some conversations he'll be having with them when they're up early in the morning and stuff like that too. So I was like, it took me a minute, but for a while I was like, bitch, who are you talking to? You ain't got no friends. I'm your friend, bitch. I'm your one friend here,
I'm your whole world.
Right.
I'm their captain now.
Right, I'm the captain now.
Right. That's interesting. That's like, I'm trying to think now. Like maybe here and there, but it's the same thing. Like our lives are just so intertwined that we just kind of know pretty much everyone in everyone's life. And for me, I get involved more in just stuff like volleyball and the gay professional networking group here and things like that. So I probably get more text than he does. And sometimes people are like, who is that? I'm like, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. I just feel like we're just so intertwined that I don't know if there's, I don't know. I just feel I lifted that weight such a long time ago that, again, if there's someone that you want to cheat on me with, do what you got to do.
Exactly.
But there's consequences to that at the end of the day. And I think we both understand that, And that's not to say that I wouldn't be heartbroken, this and that, but I can't babysit another adult because I can barely babysit my damn self.
Right. And that's also that's also about like knowing what you bring to the table and just being confident in yourself, and just be like, oh, well, if that's what you want, go for it, boo. Because I know what I got over here, and I know I bring all of it to the table. Okay,
right, and vice
full
versa
course
too.
Meal, bitch. Okay,
right. And thing is, like, too, like, and I'm trying to think how much business I'm trying to put out. Because I feel like I put so much on the podcast. But I know, right? But I feel like I feel like, and I don't know what episode we said this in. It might have been like 10 episodes ago. How RuPaul, like, because we're not in an open relationship and things like that. But I feel like there can be a conversation for anything. Like, we're married now. And I should be able to go to him and have a conversation and vice versa. Doesn't mean it's not hard. Doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. So even if it comes to something about other people and things like that, let's at least have that conversation. Like, I'm open to having that conversation. It's not going to hurt my feelings because at least we have that trust and that ability to be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I need, whatever it may be. Then we could go from there instead of trying to the fear of what Carell's going to say or the fear of what Corey's going to say or whatever relationship, So I feel that's maybe, at least from my perspective, the weight that's kind of gone at this point in our relationship that might have been a little heavier early on in the relationship, which is awesome. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen and things like that, but it's at least the conversations are there. Does that make sense? I don't know. And then that kind of takes the scale down of how much you got to be in the business, because you hopefully have communicated that they can feel comfortable coming to you with whatever situation might be, financially, relationship, thinks another guy's hot, whatever it may be, and that's hard for some people to understand. That's not within your relationships. So I'm sure there's people out there like, oh, Carell said this. That's not what I'm saying. But at least I feel, from my perspective, and hopefully Corey feels the same way, that we can both go to each other without the fear of us just popping off when that's really, you were coming at a vulnerable state, whatever it might be.
And see, Fiznik and I are working on that same type of thing. Now, shit, I guess maybe I'm sharing too much. But what you speak about is true, because, like, so much, especially within like the last year, I would say, has just been about how to effectively communicate with each other, and also how to communicate without coming across of blaming, less of the, well, you did this, and more of the, I feel like this. And,
it's hard.
And that has
That's
really
hard.
helped.
So hard. Oh.
That has really helped with understanding the place and what, my partner has been coming from whenever he has an issue. And so, I mean, it takes work to get to that point, but I agree. I think, and we're not there yet, but I'm hoping that by the time we get there, it'll be like that, where we can have those conversations even more often without the sometimes the fighting that comes along behind it,
And we're still working on it. It's not 100% of the time, because I mean, like, before we got on this podcast, I was telling Dawon before you got on, we were fighting about vinegar, like fucking vinegar,
not
like,
just vinegar though.
Like, obviously that's never the root of it, but that's what set him off, was about we didn't have the vinegar he wanted in the house. I'm like, really? You're getting that upset about vinegar? Corey, so it's not 100%, so I don't want to put that out there.
Let me put this out there, too, because Corey, I had your back, girl, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like when you got your heart set on something and you go home and that shit is not there, and you be like, your whole night is fucked up. And then you have somebody else, be it your husband or anybody else, they just collateral damage at that point. So,
and that's exactly what I just came downstairs at the wrong time trying to help him, trying to find this vinegar. And since we didn't have it, life was over.
I know what
so it's
like.
Not all the time. It's not 100% of the time. But at least foundationally, we know more times than not, hopefully, at least from my perspective. I don't want to talk for him. But that I hopefully feel that I could go to him and be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling, whatever it may be, and vice versa. And that way it takes the having to be in the business, because you're already talking, Yeah.
I think about me and Adam, and like the only thing that I can think of, and it's like super, super small, and it's not even like a thing, but like I have a little bit of jealousy for his cell phone. And I know that sounds really weird, but Adam will take selfies and not send them to anybody, not even me. So I'll be looking, like, we'll be like sitting here on the sofa and like I'm watching TV and he's taking a picture of himself. And for whatever reason, it's usually because he's trying out like some new like mask or, something cosmetic or whatever. And so he's taking pictures of, but like he has all these selfies in his. And every time, like, I see that flash go, I give him that Ike Turner look.
Like, who are you taking this picture for?
I give him that Ike Turner look. I'm like, who are you kissing at? And I know it's just the phone, but in my mind, it's not like
so much more.
And it's not like I think that he's sending them to other people. That's not what it is. But it's just like, damn, send the pictures to me. I want to look at you looking all beautiful and glistening.
Right? That's funny. And that's true. And I feel like cell phones are probably like the biggest thing for any couple probably at this point, just because our whole entire lives are on it.
Right.
Good, bad, and the other. But I don't know. I think, honestly, early on in the relationship, I was probably more towards the 8 or 9, because I'm like, if I'm going to be investing all this time, I want to know what the hell you doing and who you talking to.
I feel that.
But now it's just like,
you let it go.
You let it go. And it might be a little more maturity on my end as well, and growth and being comfortable with myself and what I am able to offer, So that might be part of it as well. Because I could see, because I started dating them at like 29 or something like that. 20, how old was
you was a late bloomer.
29. And so even between that age and now, especially in gay years, right. There's a lot of growth you get.
Do you feel like you got most of that growth by virtue of you being in the relationship with Corey that has like all the, the
maybe
the stuff
it very
with
well
it?
Could be like the highs and the lows of it very well. Mm-hmm. I mean, and hopefully you are able to grow within whatever relationship, friends and like significant other wise.
Because I feel like with your friends, they gas you up no matter what. You could be wrong as hell, and they will gas your bad behavior up. But I feel like when you're in a relationship, like, sometimes you'll get the gas up, but it's a sometimes. It's not all the times, and that's a true statement. That's tough to go from like where you have your best duties around you all the time, and it's all about the turn up. No matter where you are, what you're doing, it could be three of you in a car, and your song come on, and you rolling them windows down in the middle of the exactly. It'd be like that, but then you'll be riding with your boo, and your song came on, and then you get into it, and they are not into it, and it's just like.
They like turn it down. Right, that's what Corey's always like. Corey's like, turn that shit down. I'm like, no. And then a fight ensues or something. Right. So community, I don't want to get that perception out there that it's 100% of the time because we still working on this shit. But where we're at today compared to last year, compared to the year before, at least it's a steady climb of being able to hopefully go to your significant other and be like, you know what, this is what I'm feeling today. Yeah. And there's not a fight or there's no bad intent or thinking that there's bad intent behind what you're saying.
I do so appreciate
what you're doing.
I appreciate what you said about just, the fact that you guys have been together. Because like all three of us have been in, committed relationships for a long time, And so, I think it's definitely an isolated perspective, even though we have three completely different relationships and contexts and all that, but none of us are like in the single scene, so I feel like maybe, folks that are in the single scene, you have a lot more risk, and a lot more reason not to, you have a lot more reason to be in someone else's business because you're
investing your time. You're investing your time and your money, your heart. Yeah. Like you invest your heart. Uh-huh. You better not fuck with this heart.
And your ass.
And I'm going to be in your business to make sure that you ain't fucking with my heart. So I completely get it. Right. And I, like I say, early on, I was probably more on the higher end, honestly. Corey's probably yelling at the podcast line saying, hell yeah, you were.
See.
But now I ain't got the time. I really don't. I choose, and maybe that's what it is. I choose to trust you. Unless I see otherwise. I'm not stupid. Like Jerrell said, I ain't boo-boo the fool. But I can't babysit no grown other person.
Yeah.
I can't.
Like, ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
None whatsoever. So maybe we need to put this question up to the community. We'll put this as a poll or something to see what everyone's numbers are. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out from people that like...
Derek, let us know. Are you all in your husband's business like that?
That's the tea. That's the real tea. Because, like, I've been looking at, like, the memes and stuff he be sending me, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on in the context of your relationship?
And they seem great. We're not putting negative up there. They seem amazing together.
100%.
So, but yeah. Thank you for that question.
That was a good one.
Continue to send your Ask Your Aunties. We love these questions. We love the different ones. This was a good one that was a little different, wasn't as political or whatever, but obviously we just talked for like the last 30 minutes and spurred other conversations out of it. So continue to do that. Send it to us in DM. If you know us personally, send us a text message. Like I just got one from a friend at volleyball the other night, so we'll get to that eventually and things like that. So any way you see us, talk to us, send us your Ask Your Aunties.
Where do we go from here? Because, like, we have a lot to talk about, girl. And I'm just like, I'm trying to brace myself.
We do.
Like,
talking about kind of, I know what, let's talk about, what's her name? Sherry Pie or Shirley Pie?
Yes.
From Drag Race?
Not Shirley Pie. Come on, Dawon Hawkins. Marvel Girl.
Right, it's like, right. That might be my favorite one.
That still cracks me up till today.
said Marvel Girl. We're like, who is that?
I mean, obviously, everybody. I imagine by now everybody has heard, kind of like the thing that's going on. I would call it a scandal, a real scandal, not to be salacious about it, but the scandal that's surrounding Drag Race, and more specifically the drag queen Sherry Pie. I forget what her real name is, but essentially what happened is, as a boy, before Drag Race taped, which was last year, Sherry Pie, the real person behind it, was engaging in catfishing, basically straight men, straight actors, basically posing as a casting agent, and, through the internet, never meeting them in person or whatever, but like, saying, hey, there's this really great opportunity to star in this show on Broadway and blah, blah, blah. They have and Sherry Pie is a New York drag queen, so they understand.
And his name is Joy Googly Melly.
See, I would never see. That's why I didn't stick. So
I just had to look it up for you, Alexa.
But basically catfishing these people, and kind of positioning getting them to think that she's casting a and what was the name? It was Allison Allison something, posing as for Allison something. This chick named Allison that is a casting agent for a company, a reputable casting production company. And in the midst of courting these people over months and sometimes years, multiple people, he would basically have them film themselves doing a lot of things, undressing, masturbating, etc., all for like his own enjoyment. And when the 12th season of Drag Race announced, and they announced that Sherry Pie was going to be on it, one of the victims, basically came out and, said, hey, listen, this is what happened and this is my story. And other people have came out too. And since then, Wow Productions and VH1 jointly came out and said, that while they already taped the show a year ago, so the show is already taped, so they couldn't disqualify or eliminate them from the competition altogether. They would show it in its entirety, but this person would not be will be disqualified and not be able to participate in the finale, which leads me to believe that they got pretty far in the competition, number one, which is unfortunate. And then B, for me, the issue isn't necessarily just to talk about that, but for me, the issue is, this seemingly acceptable idea, particularly in the gay community, to trick straight people into sexual activity. And I find it disgusting. I don't find it's one thing if it's for porn and all parties involved know what they're getting into, but the idea that you can quote unquote get a straight boy or get a straight girl, or that you're, using some kind of catfishing ways to kind of get, dick pics or whatever kind of pics and videos and whatever to get your rocks off, is not only just, for me personally, it's just disgusting behavior, but it's also criminal. And this shines a light on that situation.
And I think he's actually a gay man, because she was asking him to get bigger by taking steroids, and his reply was something like, all gay men kind of have some kind of dysmorphia about it. But it's interesting that everything you just said, and then also her telling him or him telling him to take steroids and things like that to get bigger. So clearly that's what got her rocks off. And
she told one guy to actually quit his job. This was a guy that had another job. I forget exactly what it was, but she actually got him to quit his job for a job that did not exist.
Yeah. So part of me too is just I feel like with almost all catfishing situations that you hear, people had an initial gut reaction saying something either felt off, or things weren't quite adding up, but you wanted the acting job so bad, or you wanted this so bad that you kind of ignored it. And so for me, it's almost like that underlying foundation in trusting your gut, especially in situations like this. This is crazy. If your gut's telling you, I don't feel comfortable doing this just for this job, then don't fucking do it. Sorry for the F-bombs in this episode, but it's just your gut was correct, and this is not minimizing what Sherry Pie was doing, because it is ridiculous, it's criminal, etc. But also on the flip side is looking at the people that were involved in this, that got wrapped up in this, and every single one thought it was an odd situation, thought it was something was off, but they continue to do it nonetheless.
I think the idea that you're trying to get across, I think that the idea, because I don't want it to get lost in translation. I think the idea is that the cautionary tale is, trust your gut when it comes to these kinds of things and do your due diligence. We don't want to give the impression that we're victim blaming by any stretch. And I know that's not what you're saying, but some people hear what they want to hear out of this stuff. Maybe try to switch some words, and then they be coming for us in the DMs like, well, you need to be more responsible with your platform. And it's like, we understand that, and that's one of the reasons why we're talking about this as an issue. There's two sides to this coin. It's like, not everybody, but there are so many people out there, and us included, that aspire to some little bit of a limelight, and whatever that may be. And sometimes we ignore the signs that are out there. So the cautionary tale is we have to do our due diligence. That doesn't excuse bad behavior. Like, this is fucked up behavior. It's completely wrong. It should have never happened. And I'm at least glad that VH1 is doing their due diligence, and Wild Productions is doing their diligence to, air the disclaimer on every single episode, letting people know what has happened or whatever. And, it allows for the conversation to happen, amongst our community, especially the LGBTQ plus community. When we're fighting for our rights, we don't need these black eyes like these. And I said black eyes. So we don't need these situations to be, blemishes on, essentially what happens is the alt-right uses these kinds of situations to continue to deny us rights. So let's just make sure that we're doing our due diligence to call each other accountable for the right kind of actions, and calling to the carpet when you're doing the wrong thing.
Amen. Oh, Jerrell. Her throat hurts. She over here spraying throat spray and everything. Oh, thank you for being a trooper in this episode, girl. And then another one, though, within the community is, and at this point, it's going to be a couple weeks old, but Aaron Shock.
This one pisses me off. And the thing that pisses me, look, I got time today for this one.
She got a voice back for this.
I ain't said much. But, the little juice I got in this that I'm going to use on this one. For those of you guys of the community that have been rocking with us from the get-go, y'all would remember back in April, we talked about him before because of the pictures of him at Coachella had leaked. And I think his hands was like clearly down, like some guy's pants and all this other stuff. And we had talked about it then. But funny how like no one was saying anything then, but now that he has come out, he has officially come out, now people want to be in an uproar. And it's just like, you knew the situation, you knew what he was doing to begin with. And now that he finally has come out, now you want to be mad. But we all knew what he was doing to begin with.
Right.
And to those in the community who are harping on people being upset about his lack of apology, because there was no "I'm sorry" in his statement
at all.
There was no an apology at all. Like, if you read his statement,
it was a justification.
Exactly. That's literally what it is. And I was speaking with a friend online, and he had mentioned about like, well, we've all done things in the past, etc. I was like, absolutely, we all have done things in the past. But guess what? We've also apologized for those things. We have not condoned those things. We didn't say it was okay or anything in the sort like that. So the fact being that he gave this backhanded statement just pisses me off even more. And to those in the community who are continuing to just allow this type of behavior to happen is just ridiculous. And shame on you and on him if y'all support him.
Yeah. And the weird thing for me, I still almost sympathize with him a little bit, because clearly he hasn't dealt with himself yet, and because we've all been there. We've all been to the point where, and let me just maybe not say all, let me say Carell. I've been there. I have parents that are pastors, and that weight of feeling that if I came out or even gave the perception of me being gay was going to hinder them, hinder me, hinder everyone around me. So doing whatever you can to hide that, I get that. I get that feeling. The hard thing that sucks with him is he was responsible for laws
right.
that ultimately affected him.
Mm-hmm.
So let's even just take us out of it. Yes, it affected us, but it affected him. So I feel bad because clearly, even in that statement, like he was saying how his family was upset with it, still trying to make him go to conversion therapy, things like that. So it just sucks that he knew his family wouldn't accept him, and he did what he did because of it. Not justify, I'm not justifying it and things like that. But we've all felt that little moment where you're like, I can't come out because of whatever it may be. But now that you're out, now that you had this platform for the last decade that you've been in the public eye, you finally had an opportunity to potentially begin to, you maybe not be able to fully rectify the situation, but at least turn the table, and you still missed the mark, which shows that you still haven't dealt with yourself at all. So that part of me still kind of sympathizes with it because I've been there, but it doesn't justify his behavior, if that makes sense. So it's this weird line. And like Jerrell said, like we called it out last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like we knew exactly what it was. And you never want to force anyone out of the closet too. So like even that part of it is just like, I get it. However, you were in a position to make laws that hurt our community, that ultimately hurt yourself. You need to deal with that before you came out with a statement like this that shows that you still have not taken accountability and responsibility for what you did previously. And that's why people are still so upset about it, because we see that there's no accountability, and it kind of goes to the privilege that is the perception of him as well.
That's my point.
So,
yeah.
So that's the hard part that I don't sympathize with.
This is the epitome of white privilege from a undercover perspective. Like there is so much self-hatred, so much self-denial, so much whatever that you are willing to deny the happiness of other people because you're unhappy. And now that you have, but then at the same time, you were so embrazened to participate in things like circuit parties and going out and being in Coachella with fucking gay guys and having them have their hands down your pants and whatnot. And this kind of like dichotomy of, what your public life versus your private life is. And you expect that, as you kind of quote unquote come out because of whatever reason that you're supposed to be embraced. I would have more compassion for this idiot if he, on the coming out, also announced that before he even did this, before he even announced whatever, that he had joined X amount of organizations that are fighting to undo the damage that he done. Like for me, that would have been even better than an apology. Like his statement around, acknowledging what he did, your acknowledgement means bupkis to me, because the amount of people that you have emboldened and embrazened because of your political attributes has damaged us in ways that he will never fully understand or appreciate. And the fact that I don't care about the work that he needs to, let me take the step back. I do care slightly about the work that he needs to do with himself, because as a compassionate person, everybody has a journey, and I don't want to assume that once an idiot, always an idiot, right? So there's always the opportunity for growth for everyone. I totally believe that. But for someone to be so blind as to come out with a statement to say, I acknowledge what I did and I'm now out and gay and part of the community, I'm paraphrasing, but to have not even done any work to undo some of the damage. Like, I don't care as much about what you do with yourself because you're your own human being. But when you impact other people, the least that you could do is say, you know what? As I'm turning my leaf around and I'm accepting myself for who I am, what I'm also going to do is join an organization or lead a charge to help undo and right some of these wrongs for the other people that I've impacted through my political position. Forget about who you are and what your personal journey is, because God damn it, I don't give a shit about that personally. I do care about your impact on the community and whether or not that's really going to be sincere. And I guarantee you there's going to be fucking people out there. They're going to be like, well, I don't care. He's hot anyways, and do clout chases so they can sleep with him. It's just like, how disgusting are you? Like, these are the same people that fucking go eat at Chick-fil-A and throw their dollars against a company that actually actively fights against them.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a whole level to that too.
I agree with you on that. It came across very, like, the statement itself came across very political. You know, like, for instance, he still has not renounced, being a Republican. He still is a Republican. He's still part of the party as well. And it wouldn't surprise me if he becomes the gay guy of the Republican Party. Like, I can totally see this becoming a thing for him. And that's probably why he made the statement the way he did. I don't want to take away from encouraging people to come out. Like, this isn't about coming out. It's about righting your wrongs, and owning up to your actions and your harmful actions to others. It's one thing to be in the closet and be harmful to yourself and then come out and start loving yourself. But when you're in the closet and you are actively hurting other people, you owe those people an apology just as much as you owe yourself an apology for not being your authentic self. And that's the real point of this. Like, everyone's so caught up on everyone's caught up on him coming out that they're not focusing on the bad things that he did towards the community. And that has to be acknowledged, and it has to be rectified. And it starts with him taking the correct steps to be better, and he needs to actually want to apologize. And like Dawon said, he needs to be behind certain organizations that are actively trying to better our community. He needs to be out there on the front lines using his platform, or the platform that he does have, to be better and to, do better for our community. If he's not doing that, he's literally just being the typical white gay privilege.
I agree. And I think that's even going back a couple weeks why I was so upset with Wendy as well. I think it's all the similar strain. It's just like, you see hurt people, and then maybe not fully take accountability. Or
Wendy apologized.
But it was a forced one.
I'm just starting.
It was a forced one.
Bitch, I'm just over here. At least she said the words, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, that is true. That is a true statement. But you could tell that was a forced one. She was just doing it because someone made her on that one. Because even at the end, she was like, well, anyway.
But at least she has the right people around her to like do that. Like this dude, there's nobody like he's got so many people around him that can give him the information. But the fact that he still came out with a statement like that to just completely gloss over the impact is insulting.
But that just goes to the statement. You can have a lot of people around you. Don't mean not a single one of them are the right person around you.
That part too. But my point was there just seems to be lately a lot of similar threads of folks in power saying or doing things that hurt our community that for some reason are still in power. Whether it be a Wendy, whether it be a Trump, whether it be an Aaron Schock. And that's interesting to me that we still allow some of these people to stay where they're at. Or like you said, because I don't see all of them joining organizations or donating or whatever it may be. Like we just kind of just brush it under the rug. And maybe it's just because of how quickly stories come out day in and day out that you like, okay, you deal with it one day, the next day there's something else that comes out. There's coronavirus that takes up your mind space or whatever. And we kind of forget about it, and then we're just going about our merry lives. But I just hope the Aaron Schocks, the Chick-fil-A's, the Wendy Williamses of the world that have said or done things to hurt the community, even if they have apologized or haven't apologized, take the steps to rectify their wrongs, I guess. I
think at the end of the day, it is incumbent upon us as just regular folk to hold the media also accountable for the stories that they're telling. Because the problem that I have with this whole situation is that they're for all we know, Aaron Schock, Wendy Williams, and anybody else that you want to put out there could be doing those things, and we just don't know it. So I think it's incumbent upon us to hold I think it's incumbent upon us to also hold the media accountable for telling the right stories and asking the right kinds of questions. Because
that part,
because we don't
maybe even
hear,
on us to seek it out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's incumbent upon us to hold them accountable to make sure that they're asking those right questions or that they're telling the right kind of stories. Because guess what?
I'm not even saying like the media part. I'm saying for us human beings to at least seek out for ourselves, because there could be media avenues that actually did it, but there might either be bigger corporations, whatever it may be, that are putting theirs out there, and we haven't done the due diligence on our part to seek it out.
Well, what I know is Twitter keeps it real, and Twitter will let you know whether or not somebody has done the work. And when this whole thing with Andrew Schock, what's his name? Aaron Schock, the second time came around, the way that I heard about it was there was a whole Twitter storm about it. And, people saying who know him personally or in his space knows that he is still doing essentially, he is still the same person that he was before.
Oh, I mean, you could tell by the statement.
Right. But to have that validation of the community coming out and saying this is bullshit because he's still doing and is the same person, that validates that there is not changed behavior to match the statement that came out.
Right. And so that goes to earlier what I was saying. That's my line, similar thread amongst all these people that we constantly talk about. They just go back to their normal daily lives and talk shit about the next person or whatever it may be, donate to a cause that's against us still, and we don't hold them accountable from here on out. We get upset today, we talk about it today, and tomorrow we're on to coronavirus. The next day we're on to whatever it may be. And I think we still need to hold some of these people accountable, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I have two other things that I just wanted to recap really quickly. I wanted to spend just a little bit of time just to acknowledge Zaya. And I know we've talked about her and her along her journey. We've been talking about her and Dwayne Wade and how he's really been supportive of her self-realization. And last week, which will now have been 2 weeks ago, she had the opportunity to join her parents on the red carpet, and Dwayne took the opportunity to introduce Zaya formally on the red carpet. And while that's a great feel-good story, I just want to make sure that we're highlighting the importance and the significance of that family and what they're doing, particularly for the Black community, because we talk all the time about representation matters and how having examples of yourself or having positive examples being shown is so important and can give people examples to follow. And they're really showing what parenting is supposed to look like in a world that is free of judgment and that's free of that's embracing who their child is and who they identify is and embracing of the journey. I think that's the most important thing, because people are getting caught up on semantics like, oh, well, Zaya's too young to be determined in what he or she, their terms, not my terms, as they're describing this child, what they believe, they should be for the long haul. And, the story really isn't about that. It's about parents who recognize that life is difficult enough as it is for any child, let alone a child that's growing up in the spotlight, to identify who they are and get the love and acceptance within their own household to make sure that they're brought up in a way that's filled with love. And they're showing that on the national stage, and they're taking a lot of heat. And it's always the firsts that take the most heat, but it makes it a lot easier for those that are coming down the line. So I just want to shine a light to that. And, I'm committed to following this story as this continues to evolve and seeing their journey as they raise their child and hopefully change some minds of some folks around what being loving parents really looks like. And the only other thing that I wanted to share is I had the opportunity to go to Nubia here in Brooklyn, which was a drag show put on by the Black drag queens of RuPaul's Drag Race. And what an amazing experience. And not for just like the entertainment value of it, but the reason for Nubia is because in all of all the drag queens that have gone through the amazing platform that is RuPaul Drag Race, the Black drag queens are the ones that get booked the least. they're the ones that get asked for the least. They're the ones that get the least amount of the least quantity of bookings and the least amount of pay per bookings. And
this is my shocked face.
Not shocking to right, exactly. But so what was fabulous about this is that these 5 queens went out. They wrote their own show. They produced their own show. They funded their own show. They got, a whole crew around them that's mostly of Black and brown people, and of their community. And they put this show together in one of the most expensive, most diverse cities of the world, in New York. And they originally only had 2 shows, on Thursday and Friday night. And then they added 2 more shows, and they all sold out. So I got to see them on the first night, me and a couple of friends. We got to see them on the first night, and the energy that was in that room and the people that came out was not just Black people. It was representative of the entire LGBTQ plus allied community. And that was just a beautiful thing. And one of the things that they said at the end of the show was their drag friends and a lot of industry makers, people that do production shows and things like that, were some of the biggest naysayers that this would never work. And the fact that it was sold out, like literally sold out, every single show, and they were able to expand it, was a huge F you to all the people that says that it couldn't be done. And they actually, in the same vein as Honey Pot, they're actually paving the way for other Black and brown entrepreneurs to carve a way in this industry where, they're not given the opportunity, even though they've had the large platform that RuPaul Drag Race provides.
Everybody can't see your dream. That's why you need to be careful with who you share your dreams with too, because people can't see it. And sometimes it's not for them to see.
100%. 100% to that.
So it's just keep it out there. Honestly, that's how this podcast came across, because we weren't seeing us represented out there the way we needed to be represented, and the spectrum that is being a Black person and a Black gay male. It was one siloed lane. Mm-hmm. So it's okay, I'm not seeing it. I see a dream. Let's get this shit out there. And I love that they did that. You're going to have to put some blood, sweat, and tears to get your dreams across. And it will work out 99.9% of the time. That's the crazy thing. Just go ahead. You might stumble along the way, but at least you're stumbling forward. So I love hearing that. And I hope they get more shows, honestly.
Yeah.
I hope it turns into something even bigger that they can't even see right now. That they're oh man, it went from Nubia to this, to this, to this. And here we are 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, and it's a Nubia drag con or whatever it may be. So I love that.
The thing that I'm learning this year is that I want to start putting my time, money, and energy towards the things that I'm passionate about. And, I've had the opportunity over the last year to attend Black written plays that have been critically acclaimed, musicals and other performances like this. It's one thing to kind of hear something going on and, through Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and just say, okay, that's great. And big props it. But it's another thing to actually go out of your way to say, I'm booking a ticket. When I heard that this was coming and it was going to be near me, I booked the ticket right away because I wanted to be there and I wanted to lend that support. And I just encourage anybody out there, activism starts with wherever you're at and whatever you're comfortable with. And so for me, if my form of activism isn't getting out on a picket line, my form is putting my money and my time into people and causes that I really care about. And, this is how I contribute. So hopefully this sheds a light to some things that are going on, and it may inspire somebody to go out to their own community and start finding ways that they can start, investing their time and their energy into something they're passionate about.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, we have one little segment that we're going to do because it is NCAA or NCAA, however you say it, tournament time. And instead of us picking our own teams, because, Dawon's not the most sports-oriented human being.
No, girl.
We saw something out on Instagram about the 90's male R&B group Sweet 16. So what we're going to do is this week we'll pick the left side of the bracket. Next week we'll pick the right side of the bracket. And then after that, we will pick our grand champion of the 90s R&B groups, male R&B groups. And you know what? We could do female down the line as well, but this is one we saw online, so don't come at us. Thank you very much. And then also, community, we'll be putting posts out there because we want to hear who you guys think is the ultimate champion as well. So be aware of those posts that will be coming out on IG and Facebook and Twitter. So right now, we'll each have our own bracket: AunTea Hennessy, AunTea Vodka, AunTea Chardonnay. And the first competition, the first game is Boyz II Men versus New Edition. Who you got? Who's winning that one?
I got Boyz II Men. Boyz II Men for me. I mean, I think of like, I think of like Mama and Water Runs Dry, End of the Road.
Right?
I mean, there's just so many songs from them specifically. Like, New Edition can sing. They can sing too. But it came down to like basically who lyrics I remember the most of.
See?
And that literally, that's what it had to boil down to.
Yeah, mine boiled down to, I think New Edition was just slightly a few years ahead of when I really grew up. Even though I knew all the New Edition songs, when they were in their heyday, I was a little too young to appreciate it. Whereas Boyz II Men, I feel like I grew up with Boyz II Men. So that's solely the only reason I went back and forth on this one. This might have been the hardest one in the bracket for me. So I think I'm choosing Boyz II Men. Like you said, I mean, I'll Make Love to You, End of the Road, Motown Philly, Water Runs Dry, even One Sweet Day. Their records alone.
One Sweet Day. Oh, man.
I mean, literally, they have within like the top 10 longest running number ones of all time. I think they have like 2 or 3 songs in there. So that alone tells you they was popping back in the day, you know? And I mean, is there a better Bring It Home singer than Wanye? I don't know. You just knew Wanye was about to bring that song on home.
I feel like for me, like as I think about those two, it's like the choice between like early childhood, you know, like adolescence into like preteen, you know, like Candy Girl, you know,
Cool It Now.
You know what I mean? Like that, or like, you know, a little bit more mature, like, you know, high school going into like college years, you know, like, you know, so we've come to the end of the road. Like, for me, it's like, what is the moment? And I kind of lean a little bit more towards New Edition, in part because of that nostalgia of like childhood, but then also because they've kicked out a lot of like, you know, like other poppin' groups. You know, so Belle Biv DeVoe, Bobby Brown, you know,
Johnny Gill.
Exactly. So I feel like for me, it's got to go to, you know, the old dogs, New Edition for, you know, kind of like the nostalgia and like for kicking out solo careers or, you know,
I'm
kicking
not
out
mad at that
careers.
choice.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Can You Stand the Rain? That song alone almost pushed them over Boyz II Men.
It's a tough one.
Woo. All right, so we got 2 Boyz II Men and we got a New Edition. All right, the next one is Mint Condition against High Five.
Okay, yeah, remind me. What's one of High Five's popular songs?
See, that's it. See?
So we got your answer already. I like the way.
Oh yes.
Playing the kissing game.
I think it still has to be Mint Condition.
Yeah, Mint Condition for me too.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, I like High Five,
but
I like that one song.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we ain't even about to name all the Mint Conditions though.
Right.
Okay. Here we go. Silk versus H-Town.
Ooh.
I mean, Knocking the Boots by H-Town. What? Knock, knock, knocking the boots. Oh. That song alone might push him ahead. But I had Silk. Silk had some hits.
I think I got Silk too.
I kind of feel like, you know, Freak Me Baby.
Right?
I mean,
Up and down till you say stop. That song alone.
That song.
You're meeting in my
Yes.
bedroom.
Your body, baby.
Sit in my bedroom. I can't even hit that note. Yeah. Silk got that one for me too. All right, the last one on this side for the first Sweet 16 is Blackstreet versus Guy. So Teddy Riley versus Teddy Riley.
Guy. For me, hands down.
Guy.
Yep.
Jam.
Oh,
jam.
Jam. Teddy, jam for me now.
Right. Ooh. Oh, man, this is hard for me. Let me think.
That was an easy one.
I had to go with Blackstreet.
Because Guy might have been a little before your time, too.
Yeah. But Blackstreet is what I listen to. Like, yeah. And like even to this day, that fucking Rugrats song with Blackstreet and Maya is still in my damn head.
Go there.
Take me there. I want to go there. Yeah.
And make a wish.
Close your eyes and count to 5.
I mean, let me think. It might be Blackstreet by like a hair for me. Just because even like, it's a booty call. Girl, you know what I like. And you got it. That early Blackstreet. Woo. So yeah, Blackstreet for me. So we got 2 Blackstreets and a Guy. So that sets up, at least for Jerrell and I, Boys to Men versus Mint Condition. And for Dawon, New Edition against Mint Condition.
Yeah.
For the next round there. So who do you have, Jerrell? Boys to Men versus Mint Condition.
Boys to Men still.
Yeah.
Boys to Men. I like, honestly, I listen to Boys to Men at least every other day still.
Okay.
Yeah, like I rocks with me some Boys to Men. And I actually saw them live like 2 years ago too. Yeah, I'm a big.
They still sound decent.
I'm a big.
YA still sounds good.
Yeah, I'm a big. They still sound good a cappella though together. Like
yeah,
and then they just performed at the Grammys with Alicia Keys too, and they still sounded on fucking point. Like
Alicia Keys and Travis, or not Travis, Tyler the Creator.
Yeah, like
you're right. I think Boyz II Men still has it for me, even though I love me some Mint Condition. Stokely and Mint Condition be singing his face off. Woo. But I think Boyz II Men for me. And so yours is New Edition gets Mint Condition, Dawon. Who you got?
Some conditions.
Some conditions. Some issues.
These are my issues.
Usher got Confessions Part 3 coming out, by the way. That's a side note. Anyway. New Edition versus Mint Condition for you.
New Edition. Still. For me.
Okay.
Yep. I'm still rocking with the old dogs, and I think the star power that came from that group. Yeah. I hear you. So then it's, who did we have? We had Silk
and Blackstreet
versus Blackstreet, but he had Silk versus Guy.
I'm thinking Silk.
Ooh, over Blackstreet. Ooh. Let me think. I think I'm sticking with Blackstreet. Oh, that hurts my heart, though.
That's a tough one.
Blackstreet.
That's a tough one.
And yeah, for you, yours is Silk versus Guy.
I'm gonna go with Guy. I love, like, I can listen to every single song, like, by Guy, literally. And there's like some things from Silk that I'm kind of like not as attached to.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Guy.
Okay. And so the winner on this side comes to, for Jerrell and I, is going to come down to Boyz II Men versus,
for me,
Blackstreet.
Yeah, it's Boyz II Men.
You said
it still don't matter. I have Boyz II Men on this side going all the way. Okay.
Okay.
I have Boyz II Men winning the whole damn thing. We ain't gonna say the other side. But
so you gave the ending already.
Look, I ain't give the other side yet, but.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
I think, so mine is Boyz II Men versus Blackstreet.
You thinking way too hard.
Right.
My initial inclination is to say Boyz II Men. But, ooh.
She trying to go against the grain. You know her. She be like, what? Everyone else going to say Boyz II Men. I'm going to say Blackstreet.
Right. No, I think it's Boyz II Men. I can't deny their hits. Like, I mean, the data says Boyz II Men, and I think my gut says Boyz II Men. But for Dawon, it's New Edition, right? versus Guy. That's a tough one too. Ooh.
Guy.
Nice.
I can listen to every single thing. And even though like New Edition has like, you know, star power and whatnot, there's still quite a few like tracks that I'm, you know, not tied to. Yeah. Although Belle de DeVoe though.
But it's specifically New Edition.
Yeah, New Edition. Yeah, I'm going with Guy. I'm going with the older generation.
Okay, now. And then somebody honking outside saying,
Right.
I'm saying right. All right, so community. So Jerrell and I have Boys to Men on our side. Dawon has Guy on his side. So next week's episode, we'll do the right side. And then it'll just come down to a battle royale to whoever wins that side. We're not going to give you who's on that side yet, because we're going to put this left side up to see what you guys do. And so there'll be an Auntie's winner and a community winner. And maybe we even put those battle royales at the end. And maybe it's the same group. But if they're different, maybe we got to hash it out amongst us, each other. But we have Boys and Men and Guy on this side, and we'll get to the other side next week. But we'll post some of these battle royales up on IG for you guys to comment in as well. And also, before we get out of here, we do want to quickly say, U.S. women's soccer team, we're with you. That sucks to know that all the work,
agreed with that,
energy, passion, love that you guys put into your sport, that whoever the powers at be don't see that and don't side with you to get the pay that you deserve. They're saying that, what did they say, Jerrell?
They said that
they don't put in much effort or something like that.
Men have more responsibility. That's why they're not going to pay them, you know, equal pay. And let's just remind everyone that men wouldn't be here without women. Just so you know.
That part.
Just saying.
And the women have won how many World Cups the last couple times? Two or three?
Girl.
3 or 4?
Just
something
annihilating the competition.
So.
And the men didn't even qualify for the last World Cup.
Sure didn't. So I don't know how much responsibility they had if they were sitting at home. Ooh. Just saying. So we're here
they had that
you.
responsibility that the moms should have had. That's what they were doing. They were the stay-at-home dads. They want to care about the responsibility when it's the men doing it, right? Girl, bye.
No, we need to pay them. Yeah. Pay them what we owe them. So,
they better stop playing. Women are the future. I'm tired of these men out here being like, women don't deserve this. Women are the future. Y'all just
right. I just don't get it. I don't get the ego behind it.
I don't either.
Like
I really don't.
It's like it does not affect you at all. If anything, if you're married to one, it just increases your household income. Like at bare minimum. If you want to worry about your ego, okay, worry about your ego of your household income. Like I don't know. It's bizarre. Like I'm just so not attached to that ego part of it that paying someone else what they deserve diminishes me. Right. It doesn't mean that at all. That's not the equation at all. Right. So anyway, we support you. Your aunties are here for you. And on that note, I think we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Yes. Have a good one, y'all.